Welcome to Soltron. This is a video review for the Wolfnix and Akansphere combination, and also the Wolfnix figure by itself. All right, and here's a size comparison. All right, and here's a look at the box, and you can see it comes with 5 Mecard balls. And you can see it's pretty much your typical Korean robot box. And then the combined form on the back, and then the standalone robot here. And then this, like, what he's going to look like in his alt mode and his robot mode. But yeah, it's got the plastic window and colorful print, same as always. And then the instructions are also nothing special. It's pretty much standard Korean directions, black and white. It's actually, I guess, standard for all languages. All right, and here's a 360 view of our 2 robot combination. So he's okay looking. He ends up being like really lanky, and I don't really like that. He doesn't look very armored up. He's just like tall and stretched out. But overall, the combination is interesting. I like how the colors all kind of work together. I'd say this robot's probably like a 7. It's like a little bit better than average, I guess. But he's okay. And then, as you would expect, the build quality on this guy, of course, is a 10, which is standard for most Korean robots. He's just very solid. He feels very good in hand. And then you can get a look at his combined head mode, which is not bad looking. So he's got this new little hat on him. And then a cool feature this guy has is that the little Mecard figures can actually fit on him. So I don't actually have the Bite Wolf, but normally he would like clip on in the back here and then have, I think the guns would be like facing down. So that's pretty cool that that's incorporated. And then Akan is just like here in the chest. So it's cool that both the robots can fit in there. And then there's various places for the Mecard balls. Like you get one in the midsection here. You could put one in his little cannon weapon. So if we just pop this one out, you could put it in here, and this is like a little ball shooter. So you just press that and that would just fire it off. We'll go over that in more detail in the next review. But you could see he's kind of hodgepodge. Like he doesn't really fit together very well, especially like his very skinny little midsection here does not flow very well into his second midsection. Like this just looks kind of awkward. And then he's got very narrow hips and thighs, which don't really work well together. But overall, like really fun figure. So for this combined mode articulation, you do get like a head rotation, so that's very nice. That's something I actually wasn't expecting. And then you do get ratcheted shoulders, which are going to go 360, and then you get no outward motion on this, unfortunately. You do get a bicep swivel, which is nice, which you often don't get with Korean robots. And then you do get 90 degrees ratcheted on the elbow, which is pretty good. And then for his hips, you do get the standard universal joints, so you can move his skirts out of the way, get his arm out of the way. You can get full outward kick, full forward kick. The backward kick is not going to work out because he's got this butt flap. And then he does have about 90 degrees on the knee, and then he does not have any ankle rock, but this does pivot for transformation. So pretty standard on the articulation front, if not a little bit better than Korean robots, because he actually does have a bicep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for his combined mode. So we just start to get him back into his Wolfnix mode. We're just going to start taking parts off of him. So all the red parts are the Wolfnix parts. So except for this one actually goes to a Akansphere. So we'll just discard like all the blue parts. We don't really need those for this combination. And then a really cool thing this combination does is actually have Akansphere's legs actually turn into the arms, which is really cool. I think that's a really good idea. So these would actually become legs very simply like that. And then it's got a nice little button here, a spring-loaded button to release these mechanisms. And then you're going to take off the eagle or hawk chest plate, and then take off these wings. Oh yeah, and I guess this is a point of articulation. The wings can be spread out, so it kind of fills out the back a little bit better. And that's just going to unclip here. And then we take the little helmet, and that actually goes to this kind of little car vehicle, and that's going to clip in here. And that's just going to close up. So basically you get like another little additional mini vehicle. And then I really like how they worked out the engineering on this too. So these little hip skirts are going to fold down, or this stomach section, and that helps hold everything together. And then you just slide this guy off the back, and then you can see this is your base Akansphere robot, and you're just going to rotate these arms back into place like this, and then the fists are right here. So they're basically, you have your standard robot mode, and then you just pop his legs on using those buttons. All right, and here's Akansphere pretty much put back together, and I'll review him in the next video with his core figure. And then you just take the legs of, or the pants mode pretty much, and you're gonna unclip these shins, and then this is gonna slide off. These are nicely implemented right here. And then these shin joints really help hold it in place, and you just rotate the feet forward. So this is gonna become Wolfnix's legs, and then you can see there's a sphere in his shin right now, and then there's like a nice little trigger back here that'll pop it out. So that's a pretty cool feature. I like that. And then you take what's basically his torso mess right here, and you're just going to sandwich those together. They don't actually peg together, which is kind of annoying. That would help like hold them together a little bit better. And then you can see the combined mode toes now become the shoulders, and then you're going to flip up this whole panel right here. Well, actually, maybe that does, okay, it does clip into place, never mind. But this is going to slide into the waist here, and that's going to help keep him nice and solid. And then you're going to rotate out his fists, same as the other figure, and then you just rotate these bird claws back. And there you have mostly a robot body, and then you put the wings clip onto his back right here. And then you can take the eagle head and his like crossbow tail, and you can just peg those onto his forearms, because he's not really going to be able to hold these in his fists. These pegs are just not long enough to do that. Actually, maybe you're supposed to put these together. So this pegs into here, I think. Okay, no, the box shows that they're separate. And then he does have like this hinge here. I'm not sure what that's for. I don't know why you'd want to fold this in half. Maybe that's for the alt mode, so we can have head articulation. And this, because these claws are in the way, this actually doesn't peg in very well. It's pretty shallow. It doesn't go in all the way. As you can see, it's still sticking out a little bit. This one seems to peg in just fine though. The shaft seems to be long enough. Actually, yeah, this seems to be okay. It was like designed with that in mind. All right, and then finally, you open up the chest here. And this is where you would put in Bite Wolf, and you have like the cannons facing forward. So I don't have that figure. I only have this cardboard cut out. You just shove that in. So that's a nice placeholder. And then you rotate the head around. And there he is. All right, and here's a 360 of Wolfnix with his robot mode. And this is a pretty, I don't know, I feel like this is a pretty weak robot mode, especially with this huge block just sticking out of his chest. I like that it's got cannons on it at least, but yeah, he doesn't really work for me. I'd say this is something like a 4. He's definitely below average looking robot. Kind of generic looking, maybe a 5. Maybe this is like the definition of a 5 robot. He looks okay. The colors are nice and vibrant at least. but his proportions are a little wonky. He's just not great to look at. And we get into this head sculpt, and this is like an okay looking head sculpt, very generic looking, pretty simple, not much going on. And then a real annoying thing is like when you turn his head sideways, it's very flat. I don't know why they did that. It seems unnecessary to make his head that flat. But so he does have his head articulation, which again is very nice, because when I saw that their heads pop up, I thought they would actually just be one piece. So it's nice that they did work in a neck. So I do appreciate that. And then he does have bicep swivel. He's got like a full range of outward motion. And then he's even got like another joint here if you need more for some reason. And then he does have his curling iron elbows, pretty typical. But he does have bicep swivel, so that's nice. And then he does, for his transformation, he's got his folding in fists. He doesn't have waist swivel. You saw why. Like, he basically separates. You can't really work that in. And then he's got his thigh rotation. He's got full outward kick. His skirt lifts up so you can get a full forward kick. He's got that butt flap from earlier, so that's not going to work. And then the same knee from earlier, because this guy turned into the pants. So yeah, that's basically it on his robot mode. I don't know what else there is to say. I guess for his Mecard balls, there's different places you can load them. So he's got like 2 places in his shins. That's pretty cool. And then he's got 2 in his shoulders. So I think that's it, unless I'm missing anything. So really you can only load 4 of his Mecard balls, but that's better than most of these figures. It would be nice if it, like, his bow weapon here, if that had a spot, but no. Or a firing gimmick, that would be pretty cool. Or the eagle head even. Let's see, let's just keep this in here so I don't lose it. And then, yeah, you're not going to get much for poses out of this guy because he's so blocky. Like, you can't really get a pose of him looking like he's firing or drawing back his bow, maybe a little bit. So you can get a little bit of posing out of this guy. He's pretty fun. And then to get him into his alt mode, we're just going to take off his eagle parts. And we're going to take this out and then close up his chest, fold his head back, and then just that's going to automatically snap back into place. And then you're going to fold up his fists. And then, let me think. So you're going to fold his legs around like this. So flip his whole body around. And then these wings are going to fold out of his legs. And I think this was a pretty big missed opportunity. I think the whole leg should have, like half of it should have folded out to make the wing instead of just this one plate. So that was definitely a missed opportunity on the design of this guy. And then you're going to fold these, what ends up being the eagle claws, you fold those out. And those are going to end up pretty much in this position, and these shoulder panels are just going to kind of bulk out the body a little bit. But the eagle legs are going to end up way back here, which is going to be a problem. And then you just rotate the wings out, do the same for the other side. And then you can see he's starting to come together. And then finally, you're just going to peg this into these 2 posts on the waist. And then you can take this tail section, and it's got a hole here, which corresponds to a peg here under the wing. So you kind of have to move this away. And then you do the same on the other side, and then just close this up into those pegs. So a really simple transformation. And he comes off looking pretty good. I'd say this is a pretty good alt mode. It's not bad. The legs are kind of annoyingly way back here, which doesn't really make too much sense. And then I guess, okay, that's why he has that hinge. So you can kind of pose him standing up, and his toes are nice and strong. So he actually does hold that pose. So that's pretty good engineering there. It would have been nice if these would have actually folded the other direction, so you can get more aerodynamic looking wings. because these could fold back like this, which would be cooler, give him like more of a diving and swooping motion. So kind of missed opportunity on the wings. They could have worked these out a lot better and still had that ball firing gimmick. And plus, if these wings were actually facing this way, he could actually shoot the balls while he's in flight, which would be more fun than having them face backwards. But yeah, pretty good alt mode. And then same thing for Bite Wolf. You peg him on top if you have the actual figure. And then these wing sections kind of fold up around him to carry him, which is pretty cool. Well, I guess these aren't wings, are there? They're like more tail wings. Like a secondary pair of wings. But overall, I think the alt mode looks a lot better than the robot mode. So I think this works out pretty good. It's got this cool turret on the back. I think that's a pretty good play feature, that this guy always has a spot in the robot mode. I really enjoy that. All right, and then when I first transformed this figure, I transformed him like this, so the shoulders are kind of in the same place, and that way his legs make a little bit more sense. They're a little bit closer to the body. They're not just like sticking out of the back of him, which I think improves his look a little bit. But yeah, I think this mode helps redeem the robot, because I think the robot was a little bit weak. But this mode looks pretty intimidating, and the color combination, the red and black, really show up for this mode. So I'd say this is like, for the alt mode, maybe more like a 7. He's like pretty okay looking. I'm all right with this robot, or the alt mode. But pretty fun set. I think the combination and everything you can do with these robots is where the big draw is, and then having the additional like Mecard figures. I would say that, yeah, for fun factor, I'd say this set's probably like a 9. It's pretty fun to just put together. Everything clips together really well, except for like this bird head comes off really easily. But everything, it feels like nice and sturdy, good ratchets. So, and then transforming all the different modes is really fun, and combining them and uncombining them. So I'd say, yeah, definitely a 9 for the fun factor. I got these guys from G Market. You saw when I ordered it, I made that post, and then I actually got these like 4 days ago. So I've had them for a little bit. So that took, I think the shipping took 2 weeks or less, which is well worth it. All right, anyway, I'll see you in the next review.